Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Power Book 4, Season 1, Episode 6. Great news, everyone. Walter Flynn finally did something. He took out a bunch of red shirts who we don't care about. Look how dangerous Walter Flynn is now.
He is still not
No.
dangerous to me at all. Those sunglasses, I cannot.
Okay, Walter Flynn is the perfect example of, we've all known this person where you have like the guy who's just like, I'm cool, look how cool I am, and they're like showing up to a party wearing things that are like cool 20 years ago. Walter Flynn, his whole getup may have been dangerous in like, I don't know, 1997, not so much in 2022.
No, it's not working for me. Every time he has those sunglasses on, I'm just like, oh, one of your kids needs to like update you on stuff because this just isn't working.
We're gonna talk all about the Flynn family nonsense. We have more updates on the CBI. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Of course, hit that subscribe button. We are here after every episode of Force, breaking it down, probably complaining about Walter Flynn, talking about all the things that are great about this show. We don't want you guys to miss any of that.
You know what else is great about this show? It's been renewed.
Yeah, no kidding. 50 Cent can finally just like relax. He doesn't have to go on Instagram and be upset anymore.
And post pictures of someone packing and leaving. No, I think we all knew that it was going to be renewed. I mean,
Yeah.
the ratings are fantastic and the show is great. So we can all just breathe a sigh
Yes.
of relief. It's coming back.
I'm really excited too because one of the reasons I think it took so long to renew it is because the creator and showrunner of the first season left, and the new showrunner Gary Lennon did a lot of great stuff with the original Power. So we've got like a Power OG coming back into the fold.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really, really fun, and hopefully they don't kill off Liliana this season so she can be a series regular for season 2.
It feels like they're not going to. I mean, they're giving her quite the role.
Yeah, I really like how loyal Tommy was to her in this episode where, Claudia is really trying to like justify adding her own person to the circle, and Reggie and Tommy is just like, yeah, we have to have Liliana. She's different. You can trust her regardless of her violating any other potential rules or guidelines he's set up here.
Yeah, I think it's hard because Tommy just doesn't know Claudia that well. And Claudia, in a lot of ways, doesn't know herself that
No.
well. She is really new to this. Yes, she's been with Walter all this time, of course, doing all his books and keeping all his businesses legit. But I mean, last episode's the first time she ever killed anyone, and she killed again in this episode. And she doesn't really know a lot about sort of the ins and outs of how it works, how people are going to get drugs, how people are going to get money, how this is all going to go around. Tommy is really having to just like teach her like she's a probie.
It really is sort of like the difference between book smart and street smart. Like, Claudia is the perfect idea person. Like, she's obviously very, very smart.
Mhm.
She's capable of coming up with new and interesting ways to shake things up in the city, but it's like you put her in an actual environment. She doesn't have anything to do. Well, she doesn't know what to do in any specific moment like this.
Yeah, and I'm actually really enjoying that a lot because, for the most part, you see people who are partnering with other people who know what's going on. So we had, Tommy, Diamond, Vic, they were all working together for a job. They're no longer working together anymore. And that felt, really fun to watch because everybody knows what's going on and they all know what the risks are and they've all been in it for a very long time. Where Claudia's been on the outskirts for so long and she sees what's going on from the outside, but now she's in the thick of it. It's kind of cool to see Tommy taking someone under his wing and being like, okay, I've got to teach somebody else, pass the torch. So Liliana, she's in because she's been here forever and she knows it. We don't know Reggie. You don't know yourself. Just take a breath. Let me teach you. And then we can talk about other people down the road.
Tommy really, he does seem to have a head for this sort of stuff, where he's just like, Reggie sucks from like halfway through this episode, even though he doesn't really know anything about Reggie. And as it turns out, He's right. Reggie really does suck. Reggie is awful, and it is a good thing he did not get sort of the open door into this organization.
The problem here that Tommy kind of tripped over is that if Reggie is probably a bad guy
Yeah,
and he's out there doing whatever and threatening and calling and calling and calling, did Tommy really think that Reggie was not just going to show up at some point and do something to Claudia? I mean, he may have thought that, he may have not. The minute he was like, just ghost him, I was kind of like, oh, that's not going to ever end well, and you know
no.
it. So, I mean, did Tommy not think that far ahead? Did he just not care? Or was he like, listen, Claudia's got to figure this stuff out, so ghost him and figure it out?
I kind of hope it's that latter thing because that feels like a little bit more of Tommy really giving her the real world education and
Yep.
seeing how she really can fend for herself in that moment. The other part of this that I think was just fascinating was, of course, the okay, now we have to go and kidnap the chemist. And all I just have to say about this is this poor woman who she's like, first she gets dragged into everything with Claudia and Mai, and then she's like, okay, this is a one time thing. And now she's got freaking Tommy and everybody else to deal with. She's like hiding in the bathroom at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised it actually went down this way because Claudia has something on her. So at this point, Claudia should have just been able to call her up and be like, it's time.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to sneak up on her while she's buying groceries. They should have just been able to be like, if you don't want us to reveal this, get in your car, come on down. We're going to pay you very well. And just sort of try to find a way to make it so that she's not having to hide in the bathroom freaking out.
I have some advice for this woman. There's this thing in Chicago, it's called an airport. O'Hare goes just about everywhere in the, in the entire world here. Get on a plane, get really far away from this, somewhere so far where they don't care what somebody has on you. Like, she is number one contender for the why are you still in Chicago person right now.
Agreed. Maybe she doesn't have the money to leave. However, if they just pay her, which I'm sure they'll give her something for it, then she can just leave at that point.
This whole operation, though, to me is one of the most exciting things about the show right now, just because there's all these different characters that are like kind of sort of involved with it, because
Yeah.
we kind of have Diamond, who is loosely connected to Tommy, and then there's Vic and the connections that are there, even though we saw Claudia basically tell Vic, you know what, I don't really know if we need you at this point. That operation's long gone.
Yeah, and then we saw Walter as well. He was at one of their businesses. It was getting raided by the FBI, and Claudia was off doing her own thing, but she was just like, "I'm running errands. I'm allowed to go and get some groceries or pick up my laundry." And Walter wants to know where she is at every point, and he was unable to even figure out how to use the computer there. And when Claudia did show up, she kind of called him out, and that was like, are you mad that you can't get in, or are you mad that like I know how to do stuff that you don't? And he admitted that he's mad at both, and one of the things he is mad at is that she can do things that he can't. So there was a moment where I was kind of like, is Walter now gonna kind of bring her in more, kind of realizing how much he needs her? No. Instead, he continued on down the Logan Roy succession path, where every time one of his kids is starting to move up, he's just like, you're not ready. Here's some BS reason why you're not ready, because you're not going to be ready till I'm dead.
Walter, listen, I watched you in that whole raid scene with the FBI. If you want people to not think you're a crime boss, maybe don't dress like you're a crime boss.
From the 90s.
Yeah, like that was the most obvious thing. They were like going through the clinic, and it was like, okay, you're in charge here of what is supposedly a clinic here, Walter. Why are you wearing like a really fancy suit with like, you've got like a really great neckerchief with you here? It was just, this guy does not make a whole lot of sense, and by a whole lot of sense, I mean he makes no sense. Also, Walter, learn to use a computer. Also, Walter, don't be so disrespectful to your kids.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk a little bit about Vic here
Yeah.
and Gloria, because he decides that he's going to tell his dad, listen, I'm still going to be seeing Gloria. You can't stop this. In fact, I'm bringing her to Sunday dinner. You can't stop this. I was kind of wondering when that drive-by happened. For a minute, I thought that was Walter. I was like, would he do something like that? I think he probably would try to send kind of a message to his son and to Gloria that he's capable of this or that he would do this. But I mean, when Walter found out, his reaction was very genuine. He was just like, what? Who?
Yeah.
Somebody? Are you kidding me? And so it turns out that Vic thinks that it's the Serbs. So it all came out where Walter was like, well, why would they be doing this? Oh, I see. You've been doing stuff behind my back. Cool. All right. I see you now.
Yeah, Walter's just all, well, now I gotta go and actually show that I'm intimidating for a moment and go and, kill a couple of these people who we don't care about whatsoever. And be like,
6 episodes in.
yeah, okay, congratulations, Walter. You did something big in this episode, though we also have to remind you that at one point you were basically on the floor, very, very close from death, and you've got, like, Polly being like, you might want to do something about this, buddy.
Yeah, it's tough, I think, for him because he knows that if people know that he's sick, they're going to think that he's weak. And, it's just, but you still need to go see somebody.
I have another important question here for both Gloria and Vic. Why would you want to go to Sunday dinner? I know this is like a power move that you want to be able to like show Walter Flynn you can do whatever you want, but I don't know. There's like 200 different places I would rather go to dinner in Chicago than heading over to Walter Flynn's house. There's got to be a better option here.
Yeah, I know we all know what Vig is doing. He's trying to just show his dad, like, you better just deal with this head on. But at the same time, if I was Gloria, I'd be like, thank you. I appreciate that you're stepping up and trying to bring me into the family, but I'm going to pass on this one because I don't need to sit at a dinner with your father and be berated the whole time.
No, all of that just seems really, really awkward. And like, if there's one big issue right now that I have with Forrest is just that I don't really know where any of this is going with the Flynns. And I feel like with the CBI side of things, we have more of a kind of a clearer definition of, okay, we're obviously building towards some sort of like Diamond versus Gennard showdown. The Flynn family's just really, really messy. And it's like every time one of them kind of rises up a little bit, something terrible happens. And it just feels like they're kind of just on a hamster wheel going in circles.
All right, well, let's talk about Diamond. So,
yeah.
Diamond and Gennard seemed a lot happier in this episode. He's like, all right, we've gotten rid of Tommy. We've gotten rid of Vic. It's you and me. We're brothers. We're back. We're doing this together. Okay, I feel good. And then, like, pretty much right after that scene where it felt like Gennard was really starting to feel great about his relationship with Diamond, that they're back together and they're back on track, he decides to pay D-Mac to go and start spying on Tommy. I was kind of like, aren't you past this now? Diamond's not working with Tommy anymore. Tommy's not a problem right now anymore. Use this time to build stuff with your brother. Like, just stop. It feels like Power Book 2 where Kane is just completely obsessed with Tariq instead of trying to find other ways to deal with this and just get closer with his family and really like prove his position in the organization. And that's where I think Gennard is really going to be sort of just tripping over himself.
I think Gennard's problem is in all the years that Diamond was in prison, he probably got really used to having control over every single thing. And I think he still is of this mindset of, okay, I need to know what Tommy's doing at every second, at all times. I can't risk anything happening here with my brother. And instead of like actually trying to find a way to build trust, he's just trying to find a way to reinforce his control again. And that's the sort of thing that is going to come back to bite him. And we've already seen it come back to bite him sort of with D-Mac already, when D-Mac decides, okay, you know what? Here's the money back. I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm so invested in this D-Mac story.
Yeah, I know.
And they've only given us like really tiny little bits of it. But yeah, he follows Tommy to his dad's house and sees that Tommy's involved with his dad. And at that point, he's like, you can't pay me enough to follow this anymore. Take your money back. It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, all this stuff with D-Mac is heartbreaking. And I wish, and I hope we get this. I hope we get more of a full backstory on D-Mac and everything he has gone through and everything that JP has gone through, because it just feels like there are sort of a lot of missing holes here that could be filled in. And I want there to be a moment with D-Mac and JP by the end of this episode, and into the season. And granted, I am really worried on some level that JP's going to get dragged into this business in the first place.
Yeah, it looks like. I mean, he's asking for it at this point. He had this talk with Tommy. It was just like, "You need to be honest with me. How are you getting your money?" Tommy tells him, "I'm a drug dealer. This is how it is." And JP's kind of like, "Okay, great. Bring me in. I don't want a handout anymore. I want to just earn my own money so that I can pay my bills." And Tommy just said, "Absolutely not. Under any conditions am I doing that to you."
No, it was a really fascinating sort of look at how Tommy views all of this at this point, where Tommy knows this life is for him. He's trained in it. Liliana's trained in it. He doesn't want somebody to come in and get completely wrecked, especially somebody who he does really care about. And I think he knows that JP's the only family he really got, because it sure isn't Kate.
I just love the scenes with Tommy and JP doing stuff like moving the stove around. Like, I don't know what it is. I think it's just Tommy hasn't had real connection to anyone who's real family because of Kate, who's just difficult to get close to. He's had to get close to people who become family, like ghosts, stuff like that. But he hasn't really had this. So seeing them just do like everyday kind of, "Hey, I got to fix the stove. You want to come over and share a beer with me?" "Yeah, I do." I'm just like, "Oh, okay." I really like these moments.
You know what? I think what it is to me is Tommy does not own any article of clothing other than just like black pants, black jacket, black shirt, those boots.
He owned that suit. Yeah, oh my goodness. That suit was incredible.
That is the only article of clothing that we have seen with Tommy wear that is not this. And so it's just like Tommy's still wearing his just like, "I'm going to go and kill people in the street" outfit while he's like moving around the stove. And that is what made that whole suit scene so cool, was it was just way different. Also, one of my favorite moments of this entire episode is in this scene when you've got like the security guards like trying to get like crypto advice from him. Tommy is not down with the current ways. Let's just put it that way.
I understand. I am not either.
I don't think Tommy owns any NFTs either. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Yeah. No, this episode really brought, I think, a lot of interesting stuff to the table. It gave us action. It gave us, I think, more clarity on a couple of characters and where they stand. But at the same time, I still have no idea where all of this is going. We're sort of setting up Mirkovich still as this like big bad, though I still don't really care about him at all.
Yeah, and it also looks like Diamond might be getting set up. He met a woman named Adrian, and things were heating up, of course, because this is Starz. They can't go through having a power episode without things heating up, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when she left the apartment, she was looking at her phone. She already kind of knew who he was. So it feels like she's planted herself there on purpose.
Yeah.
What is she? Is she a cop? Is she working for someone else? Like, we don't really know anything about her yet. So that's kind of exciting.
I'm so worried for Diamond. I'm also just kind of like, Diamond, come on. This woman is just so happened to be sitting at your table. She's automatically really interested in you. Like, I
think it's hard when you've got a woman as cute as her sitting at your table. Like, it's difficult. She's cute, she's smart, she's charming. Like, I understand, Diamond. I get it.
Gennard, I know you're not gonna listen to me, Gennard, because you don't listen to anybody, but I need
get your brother.
I need you to come get a giant red flag and start waving it in front of Diamond's face. All right, well, this episode was a lot of fun to talk about, but of course, hit that subscribe button. We will be here every week breaking down everything with Force. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.